When storms roll in from the South China Sea and floodwaters rise through the Mekong, Vietnam doesn't panic, it prepares. For centuries, the Vietnamese have mastered the art of survival through flavor, stockpiling foods that never bow to time. In a land shaped by monsoons, heat, and war, nothing is wasted and everything is preserved. These are not ordinary pantry staples. They are edible stories of ingenuity and endurance. From golden fish sauce aging in wooden barrels on Phu Quoc Island to the fiery dried chilies that outlast generations, every ingredient carries the wisdom of a people who turned necessity into culture. So what are these mysterious foods that never expire? How did Vietnam turn its unpredictable climate into a lesson in resilience and taste? Stay until the end, because each of these timeless treasures reveals a secret, one that proves survival can be delicious. This is 20 foods, the Vietnamese stockpile that never expire. On the sun-drenched island of Phu Quoc, rows of massive wooden barrels stand like silent sentinels, filled not with wine, but with fish. Inside, anchovies caught from the Gulf of Thailand slowly dissolve into liquid gold. Nuoc Mum, the soul of Vietnamese cuisine. Its aroma is strong, even shocking, but within that scent lies centuries of tradition and survival. The secret of its preservation is salt and time. Fresh anchovies are layered with sea salt and left to ferment for up to a year, sometimes longer. As the fish breaks down, it releases a savory nectar rich in natural amino acids. The salt keeps bacteria away, allowing the sauce to age without spoiling, growing deeper, darker, and more complex with every passing season. For generations, Nuoc Mum has been Vietnam's lifeblood, used to season, preserve, and even sustain through hardship. In times of scarcity, a single drop transformed plain rice into a meal. Today, it's still made by hand, a symbol of authenticity and resilience. But beyond the tang of salt and sea, another humble ingredient waits, one that grows quietly in the earth yet holds the power to feed an entire nation. Under the Vietnamese sun, fields shimmer with green pods that soon dry into small, golden seeds. Mung beans, the quiet backbone of Vietnamese survival. Once harvested, they're shelled, cleaned, and dried until every hint of moisture disappears. What remains are tiny treasures of protein and comfort that can last for years. Their secret lies in their simplicity. With no water left inside, dried mung beans become nearly immortal, resisting mold and decay. They sleep patiently in jars, waiting to be awakened with just a little heat and water. In famine, war, or flood, they were food that never failed, a dependable source of strength when fresh harvests were lost. But mung beans are more than sustenance. They are memory. From sweet chi dao zhan desserts to savory, sticky rice cakes at Lunar New Year, they symbolize nourishment and renewal. To every Vietnamese family, their taste is both everyday and sacred, a quiet reminder that resilience begins with the humble and enduring. Yet not all of Vietnam's lasting foods grow in fields. Some come from the restless sea, dried and salted until they carry the ocean's eternal heartbeat. At dawn on Vietnam's coast, fishermen pull in silver nets heavy with anchovies, small, shimmering, and full of life. But soon, the sun and salt will turn them into something far more enduring. Spread across old bamboo racks, the anchovies dry under the tropical heat, their moisture evaporating until only flavor remains. Salted or dried, these anchovies have fed coastal communities for centuries. The secret is the ocean itself. Natural salt and sunlight form a preservation so powerful that these fish can last for years without refrigeration. Once dry, they harden like jewels of the sea, ready to be grilled, simmered in broth, or ground into sauces that define Vietnamese cooking. In times of hardship, they were a lifeline, easy to store, easy to share, rich in protein and spirit. Even today, their salty aroma drifting from a kitchen feels like a memory of the coast. Each bite carries wind, sun, and the wisdom of those who learn to make time their ally. But while the sea gives salt and life, the mountains of Vietnam guard their own treasures, fragrant ancient spices that defy time with scent alone. Step into a Vietnamese market, and the air itself feels alive, heavy with spice and memory. Among the baskets of colors and scents lie 3 stars of immortality: star anise, cinnamon, and cloves. Together, they are the fragrance of pho, the steam that rises with every dawn in Hanoi's streets. Their preservation secret lies in their nature. Each spice is a fortress of essential oils, born to resist rot, insects, and time. When dried and stored, they don't fade, they intensify. Even decades later, one cracked pod of star anise or a shard of cinnamon can fill a room with warmth. For generations, these spices were as precious as gold, traded along rivers, offered in rituals, and cherished for their healing powers. They carried Vietnam's soul across borders, turning simple broths into art. Their scent means comfort, heritage, and home. But beyond the spice stalls and mountain trade routes, another treasure lies waiting, thin, white, and fragile-looking, yet strong enough to survive years untouched and still feed millions. In a quiet village, sunlight pours through bamboo trays lined with strands of rice noodles. Bun ko, dried rice vermicelli. Soft and delicate when fresh, these noodles transform through patience and air, becoming threads of endurance. What seems fragile is, in truth, built to last. The secret lies in drying. Once steamed and shaped, the noodles are left under the sun until every drop of moisture vanishes. Without water, they become impervious to decay. Packed away, they can last for years, waiting for the moment they'll soften again in boiling water, reborn in bowls of soup or stir-fried dishes. During floods or hard times, dried rice vermicelli was survival food. Light to carry, quick to cook, endlessly adaptable. Even today, it remains a staple in every Vietnamese home, from street vendors to modern kitchens, proof that simplicity is the truest form of strength. And as these pale strands dance once more in hot broth, another ingredient rises beside them, one born not of dryness, but of salt and patience, its preservation story just as timeless. In the soft light of dawn, rows of duck eggs rest in earthen jars, buried beneath a mixture of salt, ash, and clay. Weeks later, they emerge transformed, trung vit muối, salted duck eggs, their yolks glowing like amber under the shell. Crack one open, and the aroma is rich, oceanic, and warm, the flavor both savory and ancient. The secret to their longevity lies in salt and patience. The saline mixture seeps slowly through the shell, drawing out moisture while preserving the egg from within. Over time, the yolk solidifies into a golden gem, oily, grainy, and bursting with umami, while the white becomes firm and briny. It's preservation by transformation, a perfect balance between decay and perfection. Salted duck eggs are eaten with congee, mooncakes, and rice. They're symbols of abundance, luck, and endurance. In old times, they were a soldier's meal, a traveler's comfort, a farmer's luxury that never spoiled. Even today, their flavor evokes resilience and home. But not all lasting treasures hide in salt and clay. Some lie dry and silent in every Vietnamese household, the quiet foundation of nearly every meal, waiting to awaken with fire and water. In the heart of Vietnam's deltas, golden fields sway like oceans under the sun. When harvested and dried, those grains of rice, seemingly fragile, become one of the most enduring foods on earth. Stored dry, rice can outlast decades, waiting patiently to be reborn with a touch of flame and water. The secret to its longevity lies in dryness. Once stripped of husk and moisture, rice becomes inhospitable to decay. Sealed in woven sacks or clay jars, it resists time, humidity, and hunger. In war, drought, or flood, it remained the difference between famine and survival. Each grain, small as it is, holds life within it, dormant but unbroken. To the Vietnamese, rice is not just food, it is identity. Every meal begins and ends with it. It's offered at altars, shared in celebration, and treasured in hardship. A single grain represents gratitude, discipline, and care. But beyond the golden patties, Vietnam's coastline hides another miracle, dark, delicate, and touched by the sea's eternal hand, a food that whispers of the ocean's power to preserve. On Vietnam's long coastline, waves crash and retreat, leaving behind tangles of green gold, seaweed glistening under the sun. Collected by coastal villagers, it's washed, spread on bamboo mats, and dried by ocean winds until it crackles between the fingers. Once preserved, this humble plant becomes both food and medicine, light, enduring, and full of life. Seaweed's preservation secret is its natural salt and minerals. When dried, moisture disappears, but its nutrients remain, creating a food that resists rot and lasts for years. Even in the humid air of Vietnam's coast, it stays unspoiled, a miracle of the sea's chemistry. Add water and it blooms again, soft and vibrant, as though it never left the ocean. For generations, dried seaweed nourished fishing families during storms, offered iodine-rich health to inland villages, and seasoned soups with the taste of the tide. Today, it bridges tradition and modern life, a superfood rooted in survival. Yet, as we move from sea to shore, another ocean treasure awaits, smaller, bolder, and packed with flavor that tells a story of patience and salt. Under the blazing southern sun, fishermen spread tiny shrimp across wide bamboo trays, their shells turning from translucent to a deep, fiery orange. The smell is unmistakable, salty, sweet, and alive. This is tom kho, dried shrimp, one of Vietnam's oldest ocean-borne preserves. Its secret lies in the union of salt, air, and sunlight. Fresh shrimp are boiled, then dried under the heat until they lose every trace of water. What's left is pure flavor, intensified, compact, eternal. Without moisture, there's no life for bacteria, and the shrimp can last years, unchanged, waiting to flavor soups, sauces, and stir-fries. In Vietnamese homes, dried shrimp means thrift and creativity, used to enrich simple dishes when meat was scarce, to stretch flavor in times of hardship. A handful can turn plain cabbage soup into something soulful, a scent that recalls both sea breeze and survival. But not all preservation begins with dryness or salt. In jars lined along Vietnamese kitchens, another tradition ferments quietly in shades of red, orange, and gold, a world of color, crunch, and patience. In the warm, humid air of Vietnam, where freshness fades fast, the art of pickling became a way to trap time. Carrots, radishes, mustard greens, and papaya are sliced, salted, and steeped in brine, transforming into dua mua, Vietnam's beloved pickled vegetables. Their colors glow like stained glass in sunlight, their aroma tangy and bright. The secret to their endurance lies in fermentation. Salt draws water from the vegetables, while natural bacteria, beneficial and alive, convert sugars into lactic acid. This acid becomes both shield and flavor, preserving the crunch and creating that addictive sourness that defines so many Vietnamese dishes. Pickled vegetables aren't just side dishes, they're daily companions. From humble rice meals to festive feasts, they bring balance, awakening the palate between bites of savory and sweet. For generations, they've symbolized thrift and renewal, a way to honor every harvest, ensuring nothing ever goes to waste. But as the jars gleam on kitchen shelves, a deeper truth lingers. In Vietnam, preservation is more than survival. It's memory, culture, and care bottled in every bite, waiting to tell the next story. In a small coastal kitchen, the scent of coconut drifts through the air as hands grate, press, and boil the white flesh of freshly harvested coconuts. For centuries, this rich milk was used immediately, fragile, perishable, alive. But when modern preservation met ancient wisdom, it became bot-caught dua, coconut milk powder, the shelf-stable spirit of the tropics. Its secret lies in transformation. Fresh coconut milk is spray-dried into a fine, creamy powder, sealing away its natural oils and sweetness. Dehydrated, it becomes immune to time, light, portable, and ready to spring back to life with a touch of warm water. Even years later, its aroma is pure and tropical, like the first crack of a fresh coconut. For the Vietnamese, coconut milk powder is both practicality and poetry. It sweetens desserts, enriches curries, and comforts travelers far from home. In regions where coconuts are scarce or storms cut off supply, this humble powder keeps the flavor of the coast alive. It's a triumph of innovation built on tradition, proof that nature's richness can outlast even the monsoon. And somewhere in the cool mountain forests of Vietnam, another ingredient hides, dark, fragrant, and born not from fruit, but from the silent heart of trees. In Vietnam's misty northern highlands, logs of oak and cassia rest under filtered sunlight. From their bark emerge delicate caps and curling black ears, mushrooms that live for only days if left untouched. But once dried, they become something ageless. Shiitake and wood ear mushrooms, nam huang and mak nai, are treasures of the forest preserved in time. Their secret is the slow magic of evaporation. When water leaves their flesh, it takes perishability with it, locking an earthy, smoky essence within every fold. Dried mushrooms can rest for years. Their wrinkled face is dormant, waiting for hot water to revive them. Aromatic, tender, alive once more. For generations, these mushrooms have been symbols of resourcefulness and respect for the forest. They give depth to clear broths, body to vegetarian feasts, and umami to festive dishes like pho chai and bun mok. In times of scarcity, they fed families when fresh produce vanished, turning simplicity into comfort. Even now, when they bloom again in steam, they remind cooks that life can return from stillness, that patience, not haste, preserves beauty. And beyond the forest's shadow, another sweetness gleams under the sun, golden, smoky, and eternal. Under the blazing Cambodian border sun, palm trees sway above the Mekong plains, their blossoms dripping with a secret nectar. Vietnamese artisans climb their trunks to collect it, boiling the sap over open fire until it thickens into golden syrup, then cools into rich caramel blocks, duong thot nhat, or palm sugar, nature's sweetest time capsule. Its preservation secret lies in its purity. Palm sugar contains almost no moisture, which makes it inhospitable to bacteria. Over time, it hardens but never spoils, holding its smoky aroma and mineral depth intact for decades. When melted, it awakens instantly, honeyed and fragrant, a taste that feels both ancient and alive. Palm sugar sweetens more than desserts. It sweetens memory. In villages, it was once currency and gift, used in offerings and festivities, symbolizing luck and prosperity. Even today, its deep flavor anchors modern Vietnamese sweets and sauces, linking past to present with every slow dissolve. And as this eternal sweetness rests in clay jars, another flavor rises in contrast, not soft or gentle, but fierce, red, and everlasting, the taste of heat captured by the sun itself. They look harmless at first, tiny red slivers, shriveled and silent. Yet one touch to your tongue and fire awakens. These are dried chilies and chili flakes, Vietnam's eternal flame. Sun-dried on rooftops and woven trays, their color deepens from crimson to rust, each pod holding the power of a storm. Their immortality lies in the sun. By removing every drop of moisture, farmers turn perishable fruit into fire that never fades. The oils inside lock in heat and flavor, resisting decay for years. Stored in jars, these chilies sleep, waiting to burn again in hot oil or soup, their spice as fierce as the day they were picked. In Vietnamese cuisine, dried chilies are balance and boldness combined. They season life, warming hearts, warding off cold, and embodying courage. From the bustling streets of Hue to Highland kitchens, they're both preservation and passion. And yet, beyond their heat, another preserved wonder brews in earthen jars, a story of beans, salt, and time that transforms the ordinary into the unforgettable. In a quiet Vietnamese village, thick clay jars sit beneath the sun, their surfaces crusted with salt and history. Inside, soybeans slowly surrender to fermentation, transforming into tuong, fermented bean paste, one of Vietnam's oldest and most soulful condiments. The air around it hums with earth, salt, and life. Its preservation secret is controlled decay turned to perfection. Salt and natural enzymes break down the beans, producing umami-rich compounds that deepen with age. Sealed from air, the paste ferments safely for months, even years, evolving instead of spoiling. What begins as humble beans becomes liquid gold, savory, complex, eternal. For centuries, fermented bean paste flavored peasant stews, vegetarian temple dishes, and royal feasts alike. It embodies thrift, transformation, and the belief that nothing, no flavor, no moment should be wasted. Each spoonful is time captured in taste, a living connection between earth, hands, and patience. And just when you think you've tasted the full story of preservation, another mystery beckons. One from distant shores where flavor takes on new shapes and secrets yet untold. Something worth waiting for and worth discovering next. In the humid heartlands of southern Vietnam, fields of cassava stretch as far as the eye can see. Tough, green plants thriving where little else will grow. Beneath the soil lie their roots. Thick and starchy, nature's quiet survival code. Once peeled, dried, and ground into a soft white powder, they become tapioca starch. Bot nang, a miracle of endurance and versatility. The secret to its permanence lies in purity. Stripped of moisture, cassava starch becomes an inert, shelf-stable powder that defies time. No bacteria, no rot, just waiting potential. Stored in cloth sacks or jars, it can last decades, ready to transform at a moment's notice into chewy pearls, crisp batters, or silky sauces. Through history, cassava starch was the food of resilience. In times of famine or war, it replaced rice, feeding millions when harvests failed. Today, it's in everything from street sweets to high-end desserts, a humble ingredient reborn as luxury. Cassava starch isn't just about survival, it's about transformation. From root to powder to delicacy, it proves that simplicity is strength. And somewhere beyond the kitchens of the Delta, another story steams beneath banana leaves, soft, savory, and bound by tradition. The morning air in Hanoi fills with the scent of steam and pepper. From pots emerge green bundles tied in string, banana leaves gleaming from heat. Inside lies gio lua, Vietnam's beloved steamed sausage, a dish that turns meat into memory. Made from finely pounded pork, fish sauce, and pepper, it's wrapped, pressed, and cooked until smooth and pale as silk. Its longevity hides within its wrapping. The banana leaf is both armor and flavor, shielding the sausage from air and bacteria while infusing it with a subtle, grassy aroma. Once cooled, it's dense and compact, able to last for weeks unrefrigerated, a protein preserved through heat, compression, and care. In every Vietnamese celebration, gio lua appears at weddings, Tet festivals, and family altars. It represents prosperity, diligence, and the comfort of the familiar. Even today, its taste bridges old-world kitchens and modern convenience, a reminder that preservation can be as beautiful as it is practical. And while the scent of banana leaves fades, the story continues. In the still ponds and flower fields where another treasure waits, one born of calm water and patient time. In still ponds across Vietnam, lotus flowers bloom, symbols of purity rising from muddy waters. But beneath the surface lie their true treasure, seeds nestled within the pods, firm and pale. Once harvested, peeled, and dried, they become hat sen ko, dried lotus seeds, small pearls of nourishment that defy decay. Their preservation secret lies in balance. The drying process removes every trace of moisture, halting time while keeping nutrients locked within. Sealed in jars, they can last for years, unchanged. When simmered, they return to life. Soft, fragrant, and subtly sweet, a taste as delicate as the flower itself. Throughout history, dried lotus seeds have been revered as food for both body and spirit. Used in traditional medicine, desserts, and temple offerings, they symbolize peace, patience, and purity. For generations, they were travelers' food, light, lasting, and full of quiet strength. Even now, when lotus seeds float again in sweet soups or sticky rice, they remind the Vietnamese that endurance can be gentle. Yet beyond the ponds and petals, another preservation story rustles in the wind, one that breathes of lemongrass, lime, and the scent of the forest after rain. In the warmth of a Vietnamese garden, lemongrass sways beside trees heavy with lime. When the harvest comes, stalks are sliced, leaves are plucked, and the air fills with fragrance, bright, citrusy, alive. But as they dry in the sun, that vibrancy doesn't fade, it concentrates. These are dried herbs, Vietnam's essence captured in green. The secret to their immortality is oil. The natural essential oils in lemongrass and kaffir lime leaves repel decay and preserve scent long after moisture is gone. Once dried, they can rest for years, their perfume blooming again in the steam of a pot or pan. Used in curries, soups, and teas, these herbs are the heartbeat of Vietnamese cooking, light, fragrant, and cleansing. Their aroma carries memory, morning markets, countryside kitchens, the rustle of palm roofs in the heat. Beyond flavor, they've long been symbols of purification and protection, burned to ward off illness and misfortune. Even in modern times, their scent still heals and grounds. And as their fragrance lingers in the air, another treasure glows quietly in glass jars nearby, sweet, golden, and impossibly smooth. A taste that feels like sunlight captured forever. In southern Vietnam, coconuts fall heavy from palm trees, their milk simmered with sugar until it thickens, turns glossy, and perfumes the air with warmth. This is mut duanon, jarred coconut jam, a silky spread that embodies comfort and endurance. Its scent alone feels like home. The secret of its longevity lies in balance. The slow-cooked blend of sugar and coconut milk reaches a temperature that drives out moisture while creating natural caramelization. Sealed in jars, it becomes self-preserving, safe from bacteria, stable for years, its flavor deepening like aged honey. Once a Tet delicacy, jarred coconut jam has become a year-round indulgence, spread on bread, stirred into coffee, or eaten straight from the spoon. For generations, it represented abundance and love, a sweet promise shared during festivals and hard times alike. Its glossy surface reflects the patience and care of those who made it. And as the last spoonful catches the light, we're reminded that preservation isn't only about surviving, it's about remembering. The flavors of Vietnam tell a story that never ends, but another land across Asia holds its own secrets, ancient, enduring, and waiting to be tasted next. Vietnam's timeless foods whisper of resilience and memory, but the story doesn't end here. Across the border, Thailand holds its own magic, fiery, fragrant, and eternal. What hidden treasures lie in the Thai kitchens? Preserved by sun, salt, and spirit. This next chapter begins where flavor meets forever.